Hey everybody, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to overcome high ticket price objections for your high ticket courses, coaching, masterminds, software, whatever it is. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like to learn about making more money and growing your business, because that's the type of videos I put out every single week. Hey, I'm Dan Henry, author of Digital Millionaire Secrets and founder of GetClients.com. And today we're going to talk about high-ticket price objections, meaning you're on the phone, you want to sell your high-ticket coaching, online course, mastermind, event, annual software subscription, agency service, whatever it is. It costs a lot, it's a premium price, it's a premium offer. How do you get over these objections when you're on the phone? By the way, let me know in the comments what's your number one objection that you hear on calls over and over. I'd like to know what that objection is, and maybe I'll do a video on it. All right, guys, so before we get into the high ticket price objections, if you're charging a low ticket price, you really need to grab a copy of my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets, and see why it's a better model to charge high ticket. I'll leave a link in the description to this book, but for now, let's go ahead and talk about this. So, when you're on a call with somebody, one of the biggest, most important things is that, let's say, here's your call, right? And then the next obvious outcome is the sale. You definitely want to have a core piece of content that happens before the call. If you try to sell people that really haven't checked into your business or your offer, and you kind of just put out this micro content or you put out this short content that really kind of doesn't cover a lot, or you just, and this is a big mistake a lot of people make, is they, at any expense, at any cost, they try to get people on a call. If the people come on the call without understanding what it is you're selling, you're going to be doing most of the selling on the call. You don't want to do that. You want to simply get people to be comfortable with paying the amount of money they need to solve their problem. So for instance, when we take calls for our premium program, which is Digital Millionaire Coaching, we ask that when people get on that call that they please, at the very minimum, read my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets, before getting on the call, so they understand what we do, they understand everything, or they watch one of our webinars. Now, before I had this book, it was webinar. So we'll often ask, we'll say like, hey, make sure you watch this webinar before you actually have the call. So for instance, if somebody goes to a booking page and then there's like a 3-day wait because their call didn't happen for 3 days, and then they get on a call, what we'll do is we'll give them a quick call on the phone or send them a text or whatever, and somewhere in this 3-day period, we'll say, hey, make sure that you watch this webinar so you fully understand everything, or watch this pre-call video, or watch some type of core content that answers most of the questions, because you don't want to be on a call selling and marketing and trying to convince. You want people to watch your webinar, see your core content, or in my case, read my book, be sold on the idea, understand what we offer, and then when they're on the call, it's just to see if they're a good fit and to get them comfortable and allow them to understand it makes sense to pay a premium price to solve a problem and get a premium result. So that's a big thing people, and that's one thing we work with our clients on, is creating that amazing piece of core content so that sales calls become super easy. So that's a big thing that people don't realize. But the next thing is that when you're on the sales calls, it's important to understand that a sales call is like a road, okay? Now, at the beginning, this is where you start, right? So this is your start right here. This is the beginning of the call. Now, the end of the call is, or it would be nice to be, a sale. Now, here's what happens. When somebody gets on a call and they're interested in your product or service, whether it's coaching, mastermind, whatever, they're going to start here. Now, in a perfect world, you're going to go through, you're going to ask several questions, you're going to address their concerns, and they're going to travel straight down this road to the sale. And that is a perfect call. However, nothing in life is perfect. So what's going to happen is when you ask questions, people are going to do this. They're going to go off-road. And if you spend time with them off-road right here, you're not going to ever make the sale. So when somebody goes off-road, you have to bring them back on-road so that they can get to the sale. And multiple times will they try to go off-road, you need to bring them back. So for instance, here's an example. Let's say I'm on a call with somebody and they say to me, you know, Dan, let's say, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to make more money? Why do you want to learn to sell your high ticket products and services? Because that's what we teach. Okay, well, Dan, I really want to buy a new house. And my existing business is good. It's not profitable enough. And I want to buy a new house because I want to buy a new house. Well, I might say, okay, well, why do you want to buy a new house? What's going on with your old house? And I may find out in the course of the beginning of these questions that he's struggling with his marriage, and it's because they've got 5 kids, they've got 2 bedrooms, and he's been working at this business forever, and he's made promises to his wife's angry, and I learned all of this stuff, right? Okay, I got it. So now I understand what your motivation is. Now let's say that at some point during this conversation, I ask him something like, you know, okay, so I understand that this is what you want to do. So tell me, how much are you making now, and how much do you want to get your business to where you'll be happy, where you can buy that new house? What is your goal? Well, now, sometimes a client may go off-road and may say something like, you know, well, I got this, I got that, and let me tell you a story. Let me, back in the day, and they just go off on this random tangent and they tell you a backstory. Or they go off on a tangent and they tell you about how, this would be nice and that would be nice, and they're not really being clear. And that's because they don't really know. I mean, that's why they're on the call with you. They're not really sure about a lot of things. If they were, they probably wouldn't need to be on the call with you. So they go off on a backstory. So now, instead of me hanging out here with them and talking about their backstory and chilling and hanging out here in the woods, because this is the woods, right? It's not the road, it's the woods, and hanging out in the woods, which will never get to the sale, I might say something like, hey, John, I understand that, but right now, what I'd really like to know is why you want to, or what that number is, because we can't help you achieve a number if we don't have a goal in mind, And that's what happens is they'll try to go off-road and they'll say, well, it doesn't really matter how much money I make. I just want to blah, blah, blah. And if that is the answer you need, if you need to, like, if you're selling a weight loss offer, for instance, and you say, what is the weight you want to be at? What is your goal? And they just start talking about something else. You have to get them back to where they answer that question and get back on the road. So I might say something like, John, I understand. That's a great story. But what I'd like to know is, I'd like to really get you that house. I'd like to really help you solve this problem with your wife so you can deliver on what you promised to your wife. What number do you have to hit in order to get that house so that you can fulfill that promise to your wife? And I will not let up on that, because I need to know what the gap is. I need to know how much they're making and how much they want to make. Or I need to know what they weigh now and how much they want to weigh. Whatever it is, you need to understand the gap. You need to understand where they are now, why they're on the call, and where they want to be. Even a small price objection like, well, Dan, this is all great, but it's a little expensive for me, and I just can't afford it. They're off here talking about why they can't afford it. And so I might say something like, well, isn't that why you're on the call in the first place? You booked a call today because you want to make more money. And so the whole purpose of being on this call is so you can't afford things, right? And he'll say, oh, I guess so. And sometimes that will get him back on the road. Or if that doesn't do it, I might say something like, all right, well, John, do you want to do this? Because if you don't want to do this, that's totally fine. You don't have to. We can end the call right now. I'm not going to force you. But if you do want to do this, let's see how we can make it happen for you. Oh, no, I want to do it. Okay, well, how can we make it happen? Do you know how many times I have asked somebody, I've said, okay, here's the price. I remember one time back when my mastermind was only $30,000, and yes, my highest level, my mastermind was $30,000. It's $55,000 now. But when it was 30, I was on the phone with somebody, and he literally said, Dan, I know this mastermind is going to help me. I know it's exactly what I need, but and I don't, I know you have another program that's less expensive that gets great results, but I want the top level. I want the highest level of access to you. I know this will work. I said, okay, so you know it will work. So the only thing standing in the way is money. Right. But isn't that why you're on the call in the first place? Yeah, you're right. John, do you really want to do this? Yes, I do. Well, how can we make it happen? Thought for a second. He said, you know what? I can get the money. And he just thought, I don't even remember what it was. It was either calling a family member or it was cashing in like a stock or bond or something. And he was like, I can make it work. And it's funny because by me simply asking the question over and over again in a different way and getting them from out of the woods back onto the road, he all of a sudden figured out how to afford it. And that's the thing, is if they want it, but they're like, oh, it's too expensive, and you just make them realize that they admit, and this is why core content is important, why they admit that what you offer is what is going to get them the result, and you simply, well, how can we make it happen for you? Well, can you think of any ways to make it work? Sometimes people will just think and go, oh, you know what? I could do this. I'm in. I've had that happen a million times. And that's the thing is, if you sit out here in the woods, nobody is ever going to be, you're not going to get your customer in the frame of mind to think about how they can afford it. All right? This is talking about how you can't afford it. Here is talking about how you can afford it, thinking of ways you can afford it. And sometimes just jogging their brain a little bit is enough for them to go, oh, I can do this. And you know how many sales I would have lost if I would have continued this conversation in the woods? A lot. So that's the biggest thing, guys, is if they go off-road, get them back on road, and understand that price is negligible compared to the result that they want. And so by allowing them to simply rephrasing the question multiple times, sometimes people will go, you know what, you're right, this is what I need, I can make it happen. Instead of, oh, it's just too expensive. Okay, have a nice day. All right, but always go back to what they want. I'll give you one more tip. If somebody, I might say something like, let's say the offer is $15,000. I'm just randomly picking a number. And I say, okay, John, you just told me that you need a new house, you need this, you need that. That's what's going to make your life better. You also told me that it's very important that you do this to save your marriage with your wife. You also told me that you believe if you had this offer, you would be able to do that. You admitted all that to me. You admitted that you want this, this will work for you. That is correct, right? Yes, Dan, that is correct. So let me ask you this. The question is your marriage and your kids' rooms and having that, is it worth $15,000 or is it not? And then he thinks like, wait a minute, am I gonna let 15,000 or 10 or whatever it is stand in the way of fixing my marriage, getting a better life for my kids, and finally doing what I promised to my family so many years ago? And now the price becomes a lot more palatable. But again, it's very important that you have this core content that they watch, see, or read before they get on a call so that you don't spend time convincing, you're simply getting them comfortable with the price and keeping them on road. With that said, if you would like help with this, if you would like help understanding how to create a premium offer, whether it be coaching, online course, mastermind, whatever, and creating core content that allows people to come on the call already ready to buy, and you want to understand what to say, how to overcome objections, I'd like you to consider our Digital Millionaire Coaching Program. We work with you to set this system up. We work with you to make sure that on your sales calls, you are able to close. You are able to get people on the road. You are able, and this is a system. Yes, it's a script we've refined. Yes, it's a framework we've refined. Yes, we give you all this stuff, but more importantly, we work with you to actually be good at it. That's the thing. Most of these gurus, they lie to you. Oh, here's a secret system. Use it and you'll be a millionaire. Yeah, but you got to be good at that system. I can't just say, hey, here's how to do jujitsu, and now all of a sudden you're a world champion jiu-jitsu guy. You got to have a coach. You got to have somebody that teaches you how to get better and better every week, and that's what we do with our clients. So if you're interested in becoming a client, I'll leave a link below this video where you can book a call with my team. We'll go over what you got going on. We'll see if we can help you. But it's highly recommended that you read this book first. So if you haven't got a copy of my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets, it's absolutely free. You just pay shipping and handling. I'll leave a link below, and I'll leave some other resources that you can check out as well to help you. But guys, don't forget, subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be putting out more awesome videos like this. And if you want to get notified, then you'll need to be a subscriber. Talk to you guys soon.